Well, on that, let's get some more on it now. We're joined by Marcus Papadopoulos, I should say, the editor of Politics First. Marcus, good evening to you. Thanks very much for joining us. As we just heard, there may well be an orderly exit. I suppose it depends who you talk to in London these days. What's your view on what is going to happen over the next 24 to 48 hours?
Well, the Brexit saga is becoming stranger and more complicated. Boris Johnson, in the last 24 hours, has sent three separate letters to the European Union. His first letter asked the European Union for an extension to Brexit, but the Prime Minister didn't sign that letter. He then sent a second letter, which he signed, asking the European Union not to grant an extension to Brexit. And the third letter he sent actually said to the European Union that the deal that they agreed to last week can be passed. And he reiterated the point in that third letter that Brussels should not grant an extension to Brexit. So in the last few hours, the Brexit conundrum has become all the more extraordinary. You know, we have to take into consideration that for about 48 hours, it seemed that the Brexit saga was going to be brought to an end. But alas, up popped Oliver Letwin, a Conservative MP who on Saturday in the House of Commons tabled what is known as the Letwin Amendment, which in essence is about ensuring that a no-deal Brexit is completely off the table. Now, I was at Parliament on Saturday and I was in the press gallery, and I don't agree with a lot of the views of my colleagues in the press gallery. They said that the Letwin Amendment, which was passed by the House of Commons, constituted a blow to the Prime Minister. Well, in my own opinion, is that the Prime Minister was very frustrated by having to delay a vote on his Brexit deal. But Boris Johnson has it to play for. Because first of all, if you have a look at how many MPs voted against the Letwin agreement and combine that with how many MPs who voted for the Letwin agreement, but at the same time have said they will vote for the Brexit deal, indicates that Mr. Johnson may very well secure 320 votes in the House of Commons for his Brexit deal. Perhaps he will even surpass 320 votes. The second factor in Mr. Johnson's favour is that the French President, Emmanuel Macron, has come out publicly and stated unequivocally that there must not be an extension to Brexit. It must not be delayed. So yes, Boris Johnson was frustrated by the Letwin Amendment being carried by the House of Commons, but nonetheless, it appears, and I emphasise it appears, that the arithmetic is in his favour. It seems he has not just reached the 320 figure, he has surpassed the 320 figure, but I need to issue a caveat. Anything can happen between now and Monday's vote, and we know just how unpredictable Brexit has been for the last 3.5 years.
I saw a reporter refer to Letwin as the smartest stupid person in Westminster over the weekend, which I thought was quite humorous. And speaking of humour, the quote that came from Boris Johnson on Saturday when he said, well, we nearly got there this time, shows that things are probably moving in the right direction for him. It's proving to be easy to negotiate with the European Union, but much more difficult to negotiate with his own parliamentarians. So will it go through this week? If he can stare into a crystal ball, is the expectation that things might finally happen?
Well, interestingly, Oliver Letwin, who tabled that amendment, said beforehand and has said afterwards that he intends to vote for Boris Johnson's Brexit deal. Now, I would say, being a member of the Parliamentary Press Gallery, that the atmosphere is one of that it does appear that the Brexit deadlock is going to be broken. It does seem that Boris Johnson, who since he became Prime Minister this July, has managed, against all the odds, to secure a deal with the European Union, which has not just been approved by Brussels, but it would appear, and I keep on emphasising, it would appear, is going to be approved by the House of Commons. You know, I've said this plenty of times before. One can have serious reservations about Boris Johnson as a journalist, and one can have serious reservations about Boris Johnson as a husband or indeed as a partner, but one does not have serious reservations about Boris Johnson's drive, his fierce determination to deliver Brexit. And it does now appear that the House of Commons is going to vote for the Brexit deal. And if that happens, then Boris Johnson has the road ahead for him clear to withdraw Britain from the European Union by the 31st of October.
All right, so maybe, just maybe, the end is in sight for now. Marcus Papadopoulos, really appreciate your time this morning. Thanks very much for joining us.
Pleasure.
You're really glass half full this morning if you think Brexit is over.
Yeah, there's been a few false dawns, hasn't there?
There has been. Coming up.